questions, because like I said, I'm going to go through it fairly quickly and touch on these 5 areas. But any questions, let me know. And obviously, you know LinkedIn and you know constant contact and using some Google Docs. So we'll go through it. Daniel, what is your go ahead.
I did have one question. You mentioned that in adding connections to the database using HiRise, is that an additional package that we would have to purchase?
Yeah, so HiRise is CRM, Customer Relationship Management, and I have a paid version. I think it's $24 a month. But if you're just a single operator and if it's just a CRM system for you, it's free.
Okay.
But so, you can use Zoho, you can use Salesforce, and I'm going to show you a tool called eAcquire, which helps you to keep track of it. I like HiRise because when I send an email, I can just CC HiRise, and then it automatically gets updated.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. So related to LinkedIn, click over to Advanced Search, and we're doing marketing to plumbing companies. So Daniel, what's your zip code?
29. Well, let's use Columbia, 29201.
So using Advanced Search, one of the reasons why LinkedIn is so powerful is because the way that they separate their data gives you tremendous ability to do advanced search for people. You can see that you can type in a company name here, a zip code. So I'm going to specify this particular zip code. You said it's Columbia, South Carolina. I'm going to do a 10-mile radius, and I'm going to do term plumbing. So I'm looking for plumbing companies. I'm going to specify current. So the company has to have the name. So basically, when I do the search, I'm going to pull up people within a 10-mile radius that work for a plumbing company. So if I do this quick search, the search results is I get 50 of these people that currently are within a 10-mile radius of this particular zip code that have the term plumbing in the title. So then what I suggest here is to go down this list of 50 and click connect, 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 and then connect with as many of these people as you possibly can. You can also save this search so you can get notified. But 50 seems like a lot, so I'm going to specify this. So I'm going to type in the term marketing because I want folks who have the title marketing and also work at a plumbing company within a 10-mile radius, and I get 0. So nothing for marketing, so I'm going to type in owner. So basically, I just want the owner of the plumbing company, and I'll probably narrow this search down to 17. So then you can connect with each one of these people. And if you don't have their email address, so for instance, James, I don't have his email address. I've sent a lot of invitations, so LinkedIn is not allowing me that. I can send him I have a paid account on LinkedIn, so I can send him an email, which then pulls up this screen. And I want to send it from my, actually I don't care the email. I'm going to include my phone number. Pretty basic stuff in terms of sending an invite. Category, consulting offer, subject, LinkedIn. Hi, James. I checked out your profile, and I would like to add you to my network. And then what's important here is I'm going to add my signature just so he can get some more information about who I am. I just pulled that from a sheet here and then click on the send email. So you get the idea on how to build connections.
Yeah.
And you can go through that process over and over and over again. Back to our sheet here, that's how you utilize LinkedIn search. You can get really granular in terms of who you're searching for, building connections, and you can continue to go through that over and over again, getting as many connections of your target market profile as possible. Next thing I'm going to cover is prospecting. After you build a lot of connections, we're going to go through emailing the connections. And when it comes to emailing, at any given time I like to send 20 or 30, or, just this past week I sent 100 emails. So if you can take a look at some of those emails that I did send out, if I click here and I click on Sent Emails, here you can see March 30th, I sent a lot of emails to plumbing companies. You can see as I scroll down this list here. And what I've done is I've tested a lot of different scripts in terms of sending these emails. But between March 29th and March 30th, I sent probably 100 different emails, and I tried to include the person's name inside the email. So James, how are things going? Dario, how are things going? Robert, a tool for you. And you can see all March 28th, so you can see that I've sent probably about 100 emails, and they're all following various scripts, like followed by the first name. And if you click on each one of these contacts, you can see the script that I've used, and I'll go through some of the different scripts. I just have them listed here in a Google Doc, which has the script, and I can go through the process of how you send that email, but I'll just read it real quick. You and I have been connected on LinkedIn for a while. We've created a marketing system that you can use, the ultimate plumbing, marketing, and HVAC guy. Click here, and I'm tracking this particular URL. I'd love to get some of your feedback. Hit reply and let me know your thoughts. So the reason why I have one URL for tracking is I'll be able to see how many people clicked on this particular URL, which that URL brings them to this particular page, Ultimate Plumbing Marketing Guide, and then big download button. This is one of my, it's not a pretty page, but it's one of my better converting pages because I'm trying to really add a lot of value to them, showing them a system that they can use. Any questions so far?
Yeah, on the list, is that once you've done the advanced search, to use, like, tag them as a group, and then when you get ready to send the email, you select the group and it auto-populates? Is that how that
I
works?
wish it was that easy, Daniel. That's a good question. So how I'm sending these emails is I go over to advanced search, and I've spent years building connections with owners of plumbing companies, as you can imagine. So let me show you how I send these emails. So I just type in plumbing, current, and I do anywhere. But I'm going to specify first degree or people who I'm already connected with, which then I'm allowed to send email. So right here as I do this search, my first degree connections, I have 407 first degree connections. See, you can see these are all first degree of plumbing companies or companies that have the title plumbing. So I have 407 people that I can email. So if they're first degree, you can just click on this message button and send them an email. And there's 10 people on each page. So the reason why I know I did 100 because I went through all of these pages manually in the message button. So if I click over to, actually I'll do a couple of these. If I click over to page 14, and of these 407, I can show you how I did it here. So I click on the term message, and then I send them an individual message like Mike, here is a tool for you. And then what I do is I grab the script, which I just have pasted here in a Google Doc, and I cut and paste it. And I go back to LinkedIn, and I specify with their name. I like to put their name in the title because that helps the open rate. So it just says, Mike, here's the script, and then I send that. As soon as I hit send, then I go back to the list again. And here's all my people that I have to message. And here's a quick little trick. If you hold the control key, if I'm going to send Ken a message, I hit control, 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 and then that just opens up this box, this box, this box. So then you can go through it fairly quickly. Any questions on that?
No.
It's a pretty manual process.
So how long does it take you to do 100 of those?
It takes about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's not too bad.
And an hour and a half, and the reason why I like sending a message via the LinkedIn platform is because for a couple different reasons. One, the open rate from a LinkedIn message is higher than a direct email. So it's basically you're cold emailing, although we are connected on LinkedIn. But when they get a LinkedIn message, they tend to open it up if they pay attention to LinkedIn. Sometimes people use like their spam account, and LinkedIn sends you tons of messages, so therefore some people ignore them. But then also, if they ever do go to the LinkedIn platform, your message will appear here. And this is an inbox that people rarely check, but they also rarely ever delete a message. I'm an aggressive LinkedIn guy, and you can see here that just yesterday, I only received 3 messages. If I flip over to my email inbox, just since we've been on the phone in the last 10 messages, look how many messages I have over here in my email just in the last couple of minutes. These are all unread messages from the last 10, 15 minutes. Staying power of a LinkedIn message getting into their inbox tends to stick around for a while. The other thing that I can track and measure is when I include a link for tracking, you could see that I always include this particular URL, a tracking URL, which is right here. It's a Google URL, but then you know that you can take any Google URL and then track. You know how to track how many clicks you get from a bit.ly link or from a Google link?
Yeah.
So if I go over to my Google URL shortener, and if I pull up this link that I've been sending out, for the month, so far I have 29 clicks on it. So and this is the only link that I'm sharing is through the LinkedIn email messages that I'm getting. So, on March 26th I got 12, and you can see it's slowly dropping off because I haven't done anything in the past couple of days. But 29 clicks out of 100 is generally pretty good, and that will continue to get clicks on it. Any questions on that?
No, that's good. Thank you.
So then the next thing I want to show you is, as you're building out all of these connections, we also, anybody who's a qualified connection, we want to add them to our database and then also add them to our email marketing funnel. Now, this is a very aggressive strategy, but it certainly does work out pretty well. So let me show you right here. If I flip over to my email, and if I go down to LinkedIn, I actually have a folder for all LinkedIn messages. Here you can see all of the people that have connected with me on LinkedIn. And these are people that I've reached out to or they've reached out to me. So here you can see Rich Williams. He's an HVAC technician. Let's see if I go down here. And so here's just an example. And this was 1 day ago. I reached out to this person and they connected with me. So then if I view their profile, and if they're a qualified prospect, somebody that I want to get in touch with, I can, one, add them to my HighRise database, and then secondly, I want to, so they just accepted my LinkedIn connection, I want to add them to my email marketing funnel. So I have a 2-step process. You know that on LinkedIn, you can, on anybody who's a first-degree connection, they give you their email address. So you just simply click on the contact information, and you're probably going to ask why I have a 2-step process, but I can go through that. But here you can see you can grab their email address, and I can send him a message. So I can say, hey, Steve, thanks for the connection. By the way, I'm the founder of Grow Plumbing and would love to add your company to our directory, and then I send them a link. And that link goes to, so I do that for each and every single new connection. and that link just brings them to the plumbing directory where they can add their plumbing company to our directory. In other words, they can build a page on our website, which, that converts probably at about 5%. But after I grab their email address, you can see here, I showed you exactly how to grab their email address. Then I add them to my prospect list, which is a Google Doc. The reason why I include this step is because it just makes it easier, and then I can keep track of all the email addresses that I've added. And you can see that I've been doing this process for a while. Let me go back to grab Steve's email address. So you copy it here, and then you go back to this, and you add it here. And I haven't added this. Add this to, when I click on added, that means I added them to our marketing automation funnel. And you can see I keep track of all of these. If you scroll down, sometimes I grab the first name, sometimes I don't. But if you scroll down this particular list, I got probably about 3,000 email addresses just following this particular process. Here's 2,000. Then over here I have all the new leads, which is probably about another 1,000. So you can see I've added him here. After they get added to this list, and I can continue to go through people like Steve, or here's another one, Jim. He connected with me 2 days ago. I can view his profile. You get the idea here. I could send him a message, say, hey, we'd love to work with you, get you added. Sometimes they don't give you the email address, which is kind of weird. But most of the time, here you can see, here's another company. Most of the time, if I click on this person, they do give you the email address here. So again, copy this, add this to the lead sheet. Then after you get a bunch of them here, what I do is I copy these, and then I add them to Constant Contact, which is the marketing automation funnel. And Danielle, I'm wrapping up very shortly here. So if I click on Contacts, Constant Contact allows you to do bulk uploads. So if I click on Contacts, you can see I'm up to 7,972. Click on Add Multiple Contacts, paste them in here. You just click on Paste, and then I'm going to hit Continue. And then I want to select the list that I want to add them to. It's called Grow Plumbing Autoresponder Contacts. And then I usually just put the date in here. So it's April Fool's Day. And then click Import. So what this does is after you add people to that list, I have a marketing automation funnel that I just dropped those two people in. For some reason, Constant Contact is running slow here. But let me show you what happens. Anybody who gets added to that list, whether they add themselves manually or whether I add them, I have an autoresponder, which I'll just give you a quick glimpse at. Come on, Constant Contact, work with me. Daniel, have you noticed that Constant Contact is really slow?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, what I see, I don't know exactly when you click, so, I'm not counting seconds, but it's reasonable.
So the last piece is I want to get as many people into this funnel as possible. So here you can see I have a series of maybe 20 or 30 emails that all go out automatically. Anybody gets added to that list, the first day they get this email. Then 5 days later they get this email. And if you want, I could show you, but you get the idea. And then 14 days later they get this email. And then 30 days later they get this email. So anybody that I add gets these series of emails which go out for a year. And some of the statistics related to the email, I feel as though they're pretty good based upon the market research that I have related to Constant Contact. But 2,347 people have received this email, and 41 of those have bounced, so I want to clean up all of the bounced emails. 3 people have marked that as spam, which I'm not a mathematician, but I think that's less than 1%. 15 people have opted out, which is cool. You know what I mean? That's still a low percentage. And of these 2,347 people, roughly half have opened up the email, and then of half those people, roughly 10% or over 10% have actually, or roughly 5% have actually clicked on it. So you can see they're pretty good. You know, people are actually engaging with that email. And then as you go down, you know, some do a lot better than others. For instance, this is probably my best one, which is actually a humorous email sent to 1,400 people. You know, 0 people marked it as spam, although it's actually a funny email. And very few people have opted out. And a very, very high open rate. You know, that's a huge open rate compared to the people that have sent it to. And then 145 people have clicked on it.
Okay,
So if you
I have a question. It goes back to when you were building the connections. You know, I realized in some people you click that contact tab and it gives their outside email address, and some of them it's the LinkedIn internal address. Do you treat those any differently when you start moving them through your database?
So the example here is Steve Barnes, who's in Los Angeles, owns a plumbing company, and here's the email address.
Yeah.
And this is the one that I'm grabbing and adding to Constant Contact.
Right, and you see, if they only have the one like below that, where you go through LinkedIn.com to get to the name, because some people don't give you the email address in their contact info.
90% of them do.
But what you're saying is that for the 10% that don't, and you have to go through LinkedIn, you don't do anything differently.
No, I rarely run into people that don't give their email address. So pretty much all your first degree connections, you know, you're going to see their email address.
Yeah.
See, if I click on all of these, sometimes you get multiple email addresses.
Yeah. I just was looking at a couple yesterday and was surprised that the contact information, that was all that was there. No phone number, nothing but the LinkedIn address.
And see, like, look at this guy. You get all of their email addresses.
Yeah.
So I would say 99% of the time, you're going to get an email address in this field. Sometimes, you know, if I look at the last 4, they've had multiple email addresses.
And
so I usually only grab one rather than multiple.
Okay. That was going to be the next thing you just grab.
Yeah, see,
first one.
all of these have multiple email addresses because these are all, you know what I mean, the power users of LinkedIn. See, yeah, of all the ones I just clicked on, they all have multiple email addresses. Yeah. Usually a Gmail address and then their company email address, which is kind of crazy. So that gives us to the power of LinkedIn. You know, there's no better place on the internet than to build a qualified list of folks. And it is aggressive to just automatically add these people to your funnel. But you can see that it works. And there hasn't been an email. By the way, these emails go out every single day because every single day I try to add 10 to 15 people to these lists. So it's been my best source of traffic to the website because you can see that, you know, every single one of these gets clicks.
Okay.
And if I'm to do some market research, anytime I do something that has humor in it, it tends to do really well.
Yeah.
So these are funny plumbing slogans. This is probably the best performing one. So a good plumbing slogan is a great way to market your plumbing business. Here are a couple examples. We repair what your husband fixed. A good flush beats a full house. Don't sleep with a drip. Call your plumber. We're #1 in the #2 business. Professional, affordable. And then they usually click here to see more examples. And then this is just one of the funny ones that that we send out.
Okay.
Looks like I need to correct that. And so just in wrapping up, the last thing that is, as you're doing all of this LinkedIn activity, which, you know, can be an hour to 2 hours a day, which is a lot of time, you know, and it has to yield new clients. One of the things that you and I both know is that you get to see who is currently viewing your profile.
Right.
So that's why I pay for my particular account. So you can see that in the last 90 days, I've gotten 481 profile views. Now, all of this activity, you'd hope that these people are viewing profile because they're interested in something that you do or something that you sell. So, for instance, Michael here, he's the owner of Devil Dog Plumbing, and I'm not connected with him. Looks like he's in Texas. But the fact that he viewed my profile and hasn't sent me a LinkedIn invite, there's a reason why he showed up on my profile. He probably did a search or was part of our marketing. So there's probably some level of interest there. So I'm going to call Michael. Say, hey, Michael, I saw you viewed my profile. You know, is there any way that I can help? Here's another one, Tony. He's the owner of Sarkin Plumbing. So these are people that are currently viewing your profile. So obviously that's a good qualified lead. You know, can you imagine if you got the ability to view who was checking you out on Facebook? You know, it could be your old girlfriend from high school who's consistently viewing your Facebook profile on a day-in, day-out basis. She's obviously interested in something that you have. So anyway, I know I went a little long on this, but any questions?